here's an absolute stinker of a day. It's only 3:30 in the afternoon here. The rain is hammering down, dark. It's a real nasty one. But we're still out on the bike, doing the commute home from work. I had a person on my... I'll just check here. Yep, we're good to go. A person on my YouTube page the other day commented on one of my videos. I think it was another one I'd done about riding in the rain, that he didn't like riding in the rain, which is absolutely fair enough. I'm not wild on it myself. And he also called into question the tyres on the bike. He said he didn't have a lot of confidence in the tyres. Now I have to say, I've had the bike 2 or 3 months now. This weather, I've been out in weather like this a few times, and so far no issues with the tyres. Now the difference may be, of course, that most of my riding is done in the town, so you know, I don't know what conditions he rides in, also what speed he rides at. There's a lot of factors that take into account. I remember when I had the PCX, there were always complaints about the tyres that came with the PCX when I got it. They're different tyres now, so it doesn't apply now, but back when I had first bought my PCX, people always moaned IRC tyres, I think they were, and everyone complained they were terrible tyres and you had to get city grips and all this sort of thing. Well, I had the IRC tyres for a long time, until I think eventually I had a puncture or a couple of punctures, and eventually that got rid of them. But I again never had a problem with the tyres, and I think a lot of, this may be a sweeping statement, but a lot of people who complain about tyres, is it maybe more to do with how you're riding the bike, the speed you're riding the bike? I mean, in this sort of conditions, when you're on 2 relatively small wheels, you know, you have to be really careful. This is not weather, in my mind, for hearing about in. There's not much chance of hearing about the traffic in Edinburgh, as you can see, but you know. Oh boy, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Right. So yeah, I always try and take it very carefully. I don't remember ever having an issue with tyres on any of the bikes I've had. I remember the very first scooter I had, which was a little Indian 50cc 2-stroke, a Bajaj Spirit it was. The tyres on that were well dodgy. But that probably was expected, seeing I think it only cost me £400 or £500 new. I didn't have that very long. But since then, I've never had an issue, and I think you just have to ride with the conditions. And actually, one of my friends who knows a great deal more about bikes, scooters, what have you, than I do, when I first ordered the Aprilia GT, he was well impressed with the tyres that were on it, which I think are Michelin's. So he thought they were great tyres and would be perfect for, you know, out in the rough weather of Edinburgh. So yeah, my advice would be ride well within your limits in weather like this, which is slow, keep your distance, gradual movements on the brake, gradual movements on the accelerator, and I think if you do that sort of thing, you know, you shouldn't have a problem. Like I say, this bike, I've never felt the slightest hesitation or the slightest feel of slipping or anything since I've had it. Obviously keep away from white markings on the road, try and keep away from manhole covers, they're deadly, that kind of thing. Look out for, you know, oil and petrol spills, anything like that. Keep your speed down and just take it calmly and you should be okay. This is supposed to be like this tomorrow as well, so I've got this to look forward to. I don't tend to mind going home in the rain, because when I go home I've got I can dry off, change clothes, get dried out, that sort of thing. When you go to work, of course, you're kind of more limited as to what you can do. So I don't like commuting to work in the rain, but as I always say, every time I commute to work and back, it saves me £3.60 in bus fares. So if you put that over a week, you know, that's a fair amount of money. Certainly in a week we'll pay for more than a tank of fuel on this bike, which will go for a long time. But anyway, this is Edinburgh in the rain. This is about mid-November. It's not still really cold. There's not been a lot of cold weather yet. Obviously when we do get to ice and snow, if we get to it, that's a no-no. I don't go out in ice or snow. Only, as I say, I think I mentioned in my last video, only once have I come a cropper. Actually twice I've come a cropper on ice and snow. Many years ago. First was on the Adley Supersonic 125 I had, and that was just basically pulling up at the end of my road nice and slowly. Put my foot down on a bit of black ice, my foot went from under me and the bike fell on top of me, which was painful. It didn't break anything, but it was a very nasty sprain, and I was hobbling about for a few days after that. The PCX, again, I had out one day, and this is again why you have to be so careful in the winter. It didn't look very bad out. It was a bit frosty, but you know, that's usually okay. And I took the PCX out, and there was a lot of traffic on the main road, so I spun it round the back road very stupidly, and of course hit a bit of black ice, and the bike went flying. And black ice is horrible because you just know nothing about it. There's no warning at all. One minute you're riding along, the next minute you're going one way and the bike's going another. Luckily I was just coming round off a small bridge, so I was going at a very low speed. It was early morning, there was no other traffic about, apart from a couple of kind workmen who asked if I was okay, which I was, luckily. So there was nobody coming behind me or anything like that, so it was a lucky escape. But again, these are all lessons you learn, and you know, I'm 55 now, I'm not getting any younger, things don't repair as quick as maybe they once did, and I don't particularly want to be flying along the road in the opposite direction from my bike. So I just tend to take it a bit easier, but probably if I had any sense I wouldn't be out on a day like this either for all my commuters. I'd pay the same £3.60 and go to work. But hey, I'm Scottish, I'm tight, there's a cost of living crisis, we've got to go for it. Anyway guys, thanks as always, just a chat on the way home. I shall catch up with you all again. There we go, we're safely back home mainly. Thanks guys, thanks for watching, hope the weather's better where you are. Can't be much worse at the moment, frankly. All the best now, cheers.